Someone who I have been desperately waiting on the tour.
And
they never have. He never has. Joe Jackson.
Joe Jackson? Is that who that is?
Yeah, hasn't toured here in I don't know how many years
now.
There's plenty of tours coming up over the next 6 months that I'm going to. I got my tickets for Iron Maiden last night.
Oh, really?
Standing room, down on the floor. I'm going to be down in the mosh pit, that's for sure.
Oh, goodness, he'll come in here with all bruises on his hands.
I'm going to love it. Absolutely love it.
Oh, you've got Kiss coming up.
Kiss in a couple of weeks, and then Metallica unfortunately cancelled, but they'll be rescheduling later on, or sometime during next year. I've got George Thorogood in January. Got Alice Cooper in February. I've now got my Iron Maiden in May.
You're going to try and go back and get Alice's, actually get it recorded this time?
No, I've got to try and find a way to get backstage. That'll be the hard part.
Well, with emails, dude. Oh, Send them out.
Like he answers emails. Anyway, it is Retro Rock.
Live!
Yeah, I know. He's live.
Not here. Righto.
Stuart Allan still here with us. He's going to be disappearing very soon. He's only got a short 15-second run to the car and then a 2-hour drive home. So we better let him go. We better let him go.
How long on the boat?
Well, it depends when it breaks down, but
it's a new boat. Come on.
10 to 10.
Yeah,
10 minutes.
As long as no one's punched it, you'll be right.
Exactly.
That's
why I don't wear Spurs.
What, in case you hit a fuel line?
Inflatable boat.
Well, see, that's the thing. That'd be something else. Things that go wrong in a boat. Bang. Oh, shit.
When wearing
Did I do that with the Stu?
Exactly. I got the cowboy boots, but I forgot. Geez, I shouldn't have put the Spurs on. Yeah.
Although that could have been a reference from last night.
So we have Dangar Stu.
Yes.
Hey, g'day, Stu.
G'day.
How many times do you want to say hello? It's getting really strange.
This is why we don't give alcohol to Ben. It's only been one beer. Okay, you can imagine what he's like after one in a mouthful.
He showed.
Oh, it's shocking.
Great restraint.
Well, the one question I'd like to ask, and I think I've been trying to get into this YouTube thing for quite some time. We have been trying to get into it for some time. But what's your advice on anyone else that you'd like to give it a whirl?
Give it a whirl, yeah. So I
take notes, Ollie.
Yeah,
yes, please, all
pen ready. So look, I'm no expert. I know what. Actually, I don't know what worked for me in the sense that you've got no definitive way of attributing, a certain amount of success to whatever. But I guess the things I did do was in the early days. There's no such thing as instant success, obviously.
We know.
I don't know.
Ours took, 14 years?
I don't know. Instant success if you want to go on American Idol, Australian Idol, X Factor, or any one of those, or The Bachelor or Bachelorette, or Trial by Kyle. Sorry.
What was that? We don't know what that is.
Exactly.
I guess what I'm really saying is there's no such thing as instant success when you have no talent. You could, as long as you can be talented or persistent.
That's why it's taking you so long.
So I got to say, I think ultimately persistence, publishing regularly every week, doing a video, and you'll put that video out and 3 people will watch it. And next week you have to pick yourself up and do it again, and 5 people will watch it. And then the week after, 3 people will watch it. You go, how did I lose?
How do I lose those two? but they could be a different 3 people.
Precisely.
That's exactly right. Yeah.
And I think just keep going. And I think something else you definitely learn is you get. The great thing about YouTube, and I think it's one of the things that viewers get engaged with, is you get a chance to comment. You can't watch Channel 9 and go, oh, by the way, and have your say. And a lot of those comments will be negative, particularly in the early days.
Of course.
And so I actually think it's persistence and a thick skin are 2 critical kind of ingredients or attributes.
Well, I'm a sporting referee, so I'm used to thick skin. That's not a problem.
Spades. Yeah. And so I think what's interesting, though, is you get those comments and in them, as much as they might be things you don't want to hear, there are gems of information.
Sometimes,
I remember in the early videos, people would say, I can't listen, you too much. And eventually I was just like, do I? Oh, no, that's it. Yeah, that's just like your opinion, man, And I did. And you just eventually go, you know what, I'm going to stop doing this and I'm going to train myself out of it or whatever. And so I think listening to feedback, as painful as it is to hear or whatever, is a good thing. And keep putting videos out. keep making them a little bit better every week. And you make them better by watching them back yourself and listening to feedback and accepting the fact that this is going to take years, not weeks, not months. I think that really, and it's, and I think a lot of people sort of go, oh, look, you know what? I did it for 2 years and I gave up, or I did it for 2 weeks and I gave up. And that's
a lot of people are doing it
you.
just the 2 weeks, or
yeah.
I did it. Like you said, we're off air. I've just uploaded 3 videos and no one's looking at them. When did you do them? Last week. Well, there you go.
Yeah, that's it. That's all there is to it. So I think being in for the long haul, taking criticism, even if it's expressed unkindly.
Because there are some idiots like that. That's right.
You know, like it's not meant to be constructive. It's actually meant to be hurtful, really. I think people they don't express things very kindly at all.
Trolls.
But what they're saying, if you can take it on board and go, you know what? You didn't say it very nicely, but it is true.
That's what I was about to say.
Well, if you read, sometimes you've got to read between the lines.
And actually, one other tip, technically, I should say, and you guys will probably appreciate this, particularly Ollie, is as a producer, is that you can have slightly dodgy video quality, but audio quality is critical.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
In the early days,
Yeah.
I had very poor audio early on, and it was very detrimental. I think hit the ground running with good audio. Don't worry about a good camera, worry about a good mic.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
People will watch a blurry camera or an out of focus camera, but if you sound crisp, they'll stick around.
Totally. Yep. Because it could be, and particularly if it's well narrated, it could actually be a radio program. Really, a lot of things. And I, personally, my favourite television, you can actually close your eyes and follow along with it.
Yeah.
I really like The Mighty Boosh as a show, and because it started as a radio program, you notice that when they went to television, it still conveys
The
purely
technique
as
was the
audio
same.
very, very well.
Yes.
You
And I
don't
know-
actually have to watch it.
Yeah, you might be the same as me, where if you find something interesting that you're learning about on a YouTube video, for example, you stick your phone in your pocket, keep your headphones in, you listen on.
I did the same thing.
Because there's good audio quality, obviously.
Yep.
But you talk about consistency here, and I'm looking at 5 years worth of content and 260 videos to date.
Yeah.
I mean, you want to talk about consistency? That's it right there.
And it sort of roughly translates to one a week for 5 years. There's 52 weeks a year. And that's what it takes. I think you just have to sit there and go every week. So for me, being a boating channel, it turns out roughly, give or take, 90% of the world lives in the Northern Hemisphere.
Yeah.
So when we get our summer, 90% of my audience
Is in
goes
winter.
playing ice hockey or whatever, and so what I found myself having to tell myself is keep producing content, right? Even though your views are actually dropping. They were dropping, there's this curve, this seasonal curve for me.
Yeah.
And so it would drop over our summer. But what it meant is that if I kept producing a video every week, when it got back to the Northern Hemisphere summer, there was a larger body of work for those people to tap into. And so I saw it as kind of an investment in views that were going to come in 6 months' time, not views that were going to come that week.
But you're also catering to people who may not be doing much during the winter and thinking, I've got to do this to the boat, I've got to do this.
Yeah.
They're watching that at that point in time, and it's keeping them occupied.
And particularly the on-water videos. Like I think stuff in the workshops are very technical.
Yeah.
Stuff on the water, you often see people going, watching from Grey, Scotland, you're giving me a vicarious taste of summer while I'm going through this bitter grey winter.
Yeah.
So there's two sides. One is I've just pulled my boat out of the shed and I need some help getting it running. The other is I just want to live your summer with you, and that's a different thing.
Well, it's also a good advertisement for down here as well, getting the tourism.
Yeah,
Exactly. It's like with your big boat, you've just put it back in the water.
Yes.
All right, so if
Unceremoniously.
I understand why everyone has a look at the video. It's quite funny, actually. But yeah, that was a mongrel of a thing to get that thing refloated.
It was.
Waiting for the right
the
tide.
day before flying overseas for a month.
Yeah, I know. He's going to go to US and he goes, right, I've got to get this thing into the water. And the tide wasn't high enough for it to float properly. And it was a block and tackle, bloody winches and just... bloody well everything, just to get it out there on a bit of deep water and give it a push. Because it's got no motor.
No.
You bought a boat without a motor. Well, actually, it has a motor. But
I just didn't check it.
yeah.
Anyway, Stuart, we've got to let you go. It is a drive home. It's been great having you down here.
Thank you
Please
very much for
stay in
inviting me.
touch. Don't forget, Ollie, what is it?
Dangar Marine on YouTube.
Thank you.
Dangar, it's
making sure you're waking up.
patreon.com/, Dangar Marine. Sorry, no, I was just looking at his view counts. 233,000 people a week on average. That's insane.
Can we just have 100,000 of those and we'll
Yeah.
be happy?
I'll be happy. Yeah.
Dangar Stu, it's been an absolute pleasure, mate.
Thank you, Ollie.
Safe driving.
Thank you.
And stay in touch.
All right, we'll do. Thanks, guys.
Thank
Plenty
you.
more coming on the other side of break. It is Retro
Rock. No.